On the pod.
Oh, it's been too long since we've done that. Welcome into hour two. Let's dive into it, guys. Is there anybody y'all want to talk about specifically at free agent in terms of the free agents that are available that maybe pique your interest the most before we get into the consensus board itself? I'll start with you, Tim. Is there anybody not named Tyler Linderbaum that kind of comes to mind for you, or is that the one that hands down is the dude?
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. He'd be my first choice. It would certainly clear up some things for us on the offensive line going into the draft, give us a little more freedom there with those earlier picks that we have. And then, that's the number one. It's Tyler Linderbaum is priority one for me. There's a couple other names, though, especially on the defensive side of the ball that I like. We always talk about the old dogs. There's a big part of me that would love to see Calais Campbell come here for a year and get us over the hump and, hoist a Lombardi. That would be pretty cool. Obviously not willing to give up a ton of draft capital and money for an aging veteran, but certainly someone like that of that caliber that can help you on the defensive side of the ball. But no, Linderbaum is my dude. Priority one for sure in free agency. What about you, Emilio? What do you think?
In the world, man.
Yeah. The only other one I wouldn't be opposed to, maybe take a look at like a Jamel Dean, the corner out of Tampa. Because you're not maybe looking to sign him for 5 years, right? You're maybe looking for a 3-year deal, have an out after one, maybe an out after two, something like that. Get him in here, get a little bit of veteran presence out there, somebody that's played, at that level for a while now, going up against Mike Evans every day in practice. And it's kind of like when Ja was going up against Tay, right? You get iron sharpens iron, you get a little bit more of that. And I think you bring that kind of energy back. And you need we talked about it all the time, nothing against Key, but it's like you're locked into that number one corner. Who's pressing you for that spot and who's pressing you on the other side? Nothing against our wide receivers, but it's not like you don't have somebody that was a number one, top tier, top five kind of wide receiver. So I think you kind of bring in some of that energy and that aspect of it. I would be for it. But again, yeah, obviously Tyler Linderbaum as well. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Definitely. If you guys would take a quick second, do us a big favor, smash that like button for us. If you're new here, hit the sub, click that bell icon as well. We greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get into the list here. And again, you guys can find the full article that was written by Acme Packing Company. I think it was Justice Mosqueda that did it. You can find that at this link here in our Patreon group. What I did was just pulled all the players' names and put them in our Packers position of needs order, if you will. So let's start with the center position here, and that's Tyler Linderbaum at the top of the list, number 3 free agent available according to the consensus big board. Basically what Justice did was took all of the websites, the publications that he has the most respect for, kind of like what we do with our consensus big board. He did that with the free agent list, right? And anybody that kind of threw data out there saying this player's ranked here, that free agent's ranked there, and put them in order. So we broke it down into positions here. Tyler Linderbaum, number 3, Connor McGovern, number 25, Cade Mays, number 79, Ethan Poche at number 107, and then Andre James at 184. Hands down, no questions asked, Tyler Linderbaum is the best center in free agency if he does not re-sign with the Ravens. There's rumors he'll be interested in going with Harbaugh to the Giants. We'll see if that happens. But he should be able to hit the market here. At least he's due to hit the market unless they get a last-second deal done with the Baltimore Ravens. Tyler Linderbaum at number 3. Makes a lot of sense to me, man, a lot of sense. Connor McGovern would not be a bad signing, but some market value had him at $16 million while they had Tyler Linderbaum at $20 million. I would much rather pay Tyler Linderbaum $20 million than Connor McGovern $16 million.
You heard what DJ said about that, Clay?
No, what did he say, man?
DJ was saying that he said, he's like, you can't choose it very often, but if I could be anybody else right now this week, I would want to be Tyler Linderbaum's agent, man. That guy's about to get paid.
No doubt about it, dude. I mean, when you look at
his money,
absolutely.
When you look at it as a whole, it's just not even close. Like if I were to go PFF's big board here, and I'm not going to put it on the screen, I'll just read it off to you guys because we like cross-checking stuff, right? If we were to go to their free agent rankings here,
right, over
at PFF, and we sorted by center, they got Linderbaum at number 3. Okay, they've got Connor McGovern at 79. So again, the consensus has him at 25, but PFF has him at 79. Now they're showing, and I think these market value numbers come from overthecap.com. Okay, so you guys can go cross-check it with other websites if you'd like. But Connor McGovern's projected market value is 3 years, $13 million per, and Tyler Linderbaum's is 4 years, $20 million per. I could handle Connor McGovern at $13 million per. That's a little bit more, a little more doable, I should say. When you look at his PFF grades, he's 28 years old, so he's not crazy old, right? You could get him on a 3 or a 4 year deal. That's really a 3 or a 2 year deal. And his PFF grades were 55, 69, 70. So he's kind of stabilized 69 to 70, right? Not bad grades. Not bad. He's playing his best football of late, right? Tyler Linderbaum, 78, 79, 80. He was the 7th highest graded center, the 3rd highest graded center, and the 4th highest graded center. And again, not to be too critical of Gutey, but we're in this shape because we took Josh Myers. We drafted him over Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey is grading out as a top 3 center every single year, if I remember correctly, right? So that's kind of how you got into this position. But when you look at it, it's not even close here, man. Tyler Linderbaum, hands down, the best center. No doubt about it. Anything else y'all want to add to the center position? You want to move on to offensive tackle? Talk a little bit here. We good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Offensive tackle, number 8, according to the consensus free agent list, Rasheed Walker, number 8. Now, again, we watched Rasheed Walker play. We've seen him play every snap. We've watched him very, very close. What a great pick by Brian Gutekunst in the 7th round. But there is no way I'm paying Rasheed Walker $23, $25 million per. Just ain't going to happen. Like I said, the number I put at it was $10 million. He's a good pass blocker. He's a bad run blocker. That's essentially what it comes down to, right? When you look at the grades and everything in between. So when you sort it by the tackle position here on PFF, they've got Rasheed Walker ranked number 33, and they're showing his projected contract at 4 years, $21 million per. Now, if Jordan Morgan is our left tackle of the future, if that is the case, and we're just going to play him at left tackle, I feel good about that. I think Jordan Morgan's going to be a good left tackle. I may be eating my words next year, but based off what we've seen to this point, 4 games of him playing tackle last year, played his best football. And then, of course, in the preseason, we got a 2-game saturation of him playing left tackle. He looked comfortable there. He looked fluid there. Yeah. You start kicking him around to guard on the right side and and all over the place. I think that's what happened to him. So when you look at the tackle position, Rasheed Walker leading the way, it tells you everything you need to know about tackles in free agency. I feel way better about the guard position rather than tackle. But Braden Smith in the number 20 spot wouldn't necessarily be a bad signing there. PFF has him at 106. They're projecting his market value at $13.7 million. The problem is he's going to be 30 years old. And I'm okay with a Calais Campbell at 40 years old if he's playing good football. But when you get to somebody like Braden Smith, his PFF grades, 2023, 83. That's solid, right? 65, 65. You're overpaying for good, not overpaying for grace. So
I feel like there's a good, not to cut you off, Clay, sorry. I feel like there's a really good argument, though, for that logic. Like when you talk about Campbell, coming to the defensive line, we know we run heavy rotation there. So right. You're not going to need 50 snaps a game out of Calais Campbell, right? Offensive line, we're trying to get away from musical chairs. We're trying to get a guy in a position and let him lock it down. So I think there's a lot of logic to that. And, side note, too, on the Rasheed Walker conversation, I think when it comes to Jordan Morgan, if they do roll with him as the left tackle, I think at the very least in 2026, we won't see a regression in play from that position. I think at the very least, he'll put together a year similar to, what Rasheed has done for us these past couple of seasons, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're spot on, Tim. And honestly, I haven't even been looking at tackles for free agency wise.
Right.
It is interior, it is center, it is center, guard, D-line, corner. That's all I've looked at, seriously. And it's nothing against those tackles, but it's like, all right, I already know what you got. I already know what's there. If we had to, you could technically put Belton out there. It's not like we don't have guys that have tackle experience and can play outside. That's why they do it the way they do it. But I think we're set up for it. But Tim's right. We need to get away from the musical chairs. We need a season where at least like we only have 6 people, we'll rotate here and there, or we can get 3 games in a row with the same line or something. Yep. We can't even get 2 games, it seems like, back to back with the same line out there. So let's get a little continuity going.
Yeah, it would be nice even with injury or, things that happen. If, you lose a tackle, you got a tackle coming in, not kicking the guard to the outside,
And who didn't even get to play last year, Tim? Glover. I mean, Get the guy out there, get him on the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
H.E. Silver says, do they need a free agent backup offensive tackle or do they kick Belton back out? Tell you what I would love to see in camp. This is me personally. But Anthony Belton, to the best of my knowledge, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, he played left tackle at NC State.
Right?
Yep.
What I would like to see happen is take Anthony Belton and Jordan Morgan And in training camp, don't try to play them here and then put them to guard and put them there.
Yes, let them compete for left tackle. I love it.
Bingo. And you know what? Whoever doesn't win the job, that's your backup left tackle. Yep. And let's move along. Now,
I thought you were going to say handcuff them together. One's going to play left tackle, one's going to play left guard, and there's our young left side of the line.
I'll tell you this, Emilio. If you move on from Aaron Banks, I would much rather see Anthony Belton play left guard than right guard.
Yes.
And the reason being is he is a left tackle at heart. Yep. He's already used to the left side. He struggled like hell last year playing right guard. Put him where he's most comfortable, right? And this is the stuff that Brian Bulaga talks about. This is the stuff that Josh Sitton talked about back in the day. Why not have them compete at left tackle, and whoever wins the left tackle job, the other one, play them at left guard? Unless, of course, you go into free agency and you grab one of these guards. And I got to be honest with you, I'm with Emilio. I think the guard market in free agency is way better than the tackle market. Like when you look at this, you've got David Edwards at 26, Isaac Samalo at 28. You got Elijah Vera Tucker at 41. You got Joe Bitonio at 42, Wyatt Teller at 57, Ed Ingram at 60, Kevin Zeitler at 66, Dylan Parham at 72, John Simpson at 83. You've got Zion Johnson at 84 and Greg Von Roten at 97. Now, my cheat sheet, my list that I've got I had no offensive tackles that I liked at all. Keep that in mind. None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. I literally wrote none on the cheat sheet. Have none. Guards, I like Samalo. I like David Edwards. I like Elijah Vera Tucker, Joe Bitonio, Kevin Zeitler, Ed Ingram, and Tevin Jenkins. Out of that entire list there, if you go get me one or two of those guards on a sweetheart deal for the Packers, I'm feeling way better about the guard position. And here's what you do. You let those guys compete at the guard position. Let Anthony Belton and let Jordan Morgan compete at left tackle, okay? And there's going to be people that say there's no way I would trust Anthony Belton at left tackle. I get that. I understand. But keep him on the left side. Let him compete at guard if he doesn't win that left tackle job. And you got to have a backup left tackle. You got to make that decision. Who's going to be your backup left tackle? Maybe it's Tom. Maybe you kick Tom over because he can play both sides. We've seen that, right? Maybe that's the route you go. But whatever you choose, let's stop this whole bouncing from the left to the right to the left. What you need is a starting left tackle, a starting right tackle, a backup right tackle, a backup left tackle, not a guy who's going to play backup right tackle and backup left tackle. And I know it's easier said than done, but if the right tackle falls in place, what if a Blake Miller falls in the draft? And let's assume that Blake Miller is a true right tackle. Well, if he falls to you at 52 and he's 36 on our board or wherever he's at, let's see where he's at on our board. We've actually got him, Blake Miller, we got in the 38 spot. That's a great quality pick. You pick him up and you let him compete at right tackle with Zach Tom, right? And then I'm not saying Blake Miller has a snowball's chance in hell of beating Zach Tom out at right tackle, but if you see him in his natural position, rather than kicking him to guard or kicking him to left guard or whatever, and let's say you go, man, he's a starting caliber right tackle. He looked good in camp. Well, guess what you can do? You can move Zach Tom to left tackle, and you're off and running.
Well, rather than trying to hit this. We've got that hidden, I hate to say a hidden blessing, but I mean, Zach Tom's rehabbing the knee right now. Hopefully all goes well. So there will be reps, I would assume, at right tackle available during camp this year.
Mm-hmm. So in a perfect world, imagine this happens in the offseason. You go out, you move on from Elgton Jenkins and Aaron Banks. Okay, you're going to free up with Elgton Jenkins. You just freed up $20 million immediately. Bang. Let's say you go post June 1 cut with Aaron Banks and you free up $18 million. You just freed up $38 million in cap space. Okay. So you take $20 million and you get Tyler Linderbaum. Bang, there's your starting center. So now you got Jordan Morgan left tackle. You got Tyler Linderbaum center. You got Zach Tom right tackle. Okay. Now, Anthony Belton's your starting right guard right now. If how it sits, whatever. You go take 2 or 3 swings. Let's say you go sign a left guard in free agency and you get him for $5 to $7 million per. You got plenty of cap space to do that. You go get your starting left guard in free agency. And if you want to continue to play Anthony Belton at right guard, that's great. But you're going to draft 2 to 3 offensive linemen who are going to compete at these positions. You feel so much better about your offensive line. There may even be a scenario where you draft a 3rd round tackle that falls in your lap. You go, man, we really like this guy. Let him compete with Jordan Morgan at left tackle. I don't care that Jordan Morgan was the 1st round pick. Right now, on February 23rd, I feel like he is the best option at left tackle. But if you get somebody that you really like, let him compete. And you know what? If he beats him out in camp, let him start. Let's stop with this. Well, no, we can't start a young player. We held Edgerrin Cooper back pretty handily. I think we would all agree. There was some injury there in camp too that slowed him down, but everybody could see Edgerrin Cooper's ready to go year one. It's amazing how we will rush out a young player that's a late round pick, and you'll say, okay, we'll let him start, but you won't allow, someone like an Edgerrin Cooper start from day one because he's going to make some mistakes. It's just that stuff kind of eats at me a little bit. But I know we said a lot there, but again, the point is there's plenty of options at the guard position here. Do y'all agree with that? Like, why not go get 2 or 3 of these on a sweetheart deal and let them compete to start? And if they beat out Anthony Belton, that's a great thing.
I agree. And when it comes to Belton, just, size and stature alone, I want him on the left side of the line. We saw it a couple of times last year, pocket collapses on Jordan, and he can't even see over or around 71 out there, to get rid of the football. So him moving to the blind side for our QB1 makes a lot more sense to me. And again, like you said, comfortability, playing in college, playing on the left side at the tackle position. So I'm with you, Clay. I think I like Vera Tucker. I like Edwards. Even Kevin Zeitler would be helpful when it comes to free agents.
Even Ed Ingram, Texans used to play at the Vikings. They got a projected contract 1 year, $4.5 million. In 23, he graded out as a 38th best guard with a 59.5. In 24, he was a 66th best guard with a 54 flat. Last year, he was a 12th best guard with a 73.8, played 172 snaps. And you know what he said, it's still working to do on his pass protection, never reaching above a 61.
That's okay. We need a run blocking guard. Let's go.
He said his work in his run game is desirable. And especially if you got a left side, if we're trying to, we need to be able to road grade a little bit. I was looking at that one, they were putting up the EPA and the RAS for the running backs and all that. And it's like, dude, Josh Jacobs had like 250 carries and negative yards over expected because we couldn't even get him a hole past the line of scrimmage.
Yep. And we know Josh can be that one cut kind of guy in a pinch, right? Mm-hmm. If we can just seal the damn block for him, he can be gone.
And it wasn't just Josh. Emmanuel Wilson's 5 spots below him because nobody opened the hole for Emmanuel Wilson either. Why does Jordan Love not run it really? It's not like he can cut through we get a little bit of a pocket. I've been saying we need to build a wall for 2 years now. It's like, what are we doing?
Oh man, he's fired up tonight. I love it. J. Cole says Wyatt Teller and Zeitler with a rookie center. So let's explore that option, right?
About Monk.
Let's say Tyler Linderbaum, let's say he goes to the Giants. Like that's the only team he's interested in, or he re-signs with the Ravens. Okay, so Linderbaum's off the table. You don't want to overpay for McGovern, right? If you get him at the right price, I'm okay with it, but not at that $13 million or whatever the projected market value is. So let's say you have to draft a center and you go with a Jake Slaughter, or you go with a Brian Parker out of Duke. You go with Pat Coogan. Zune's one that's been mentioned, right? He played tackle, but he's projected as a center.
And Sam Heck was out of Kansas State. That he was the first one that DJ mentioned in his pre-combine call about centers that he thinks would go in the second, probably second, early third.
Yeah. So let's say you go a rookie center, whichever one you guys want to choose, right? So if you put Wyatt Teller on one side and Zeitler on the other, let's kind of explore that. All right. So Wyatt Teller, I'm not as big on. Okay. His PFF grade 72, 62, 62. He's 31 years old. I'm not as big on him. But the Zeitler one, there's going to be fans that say he's too old. He's 36 years old. Okay. They said the same thing about Joe Tooney and these aging offensive linemen that like the Bears went and added. There was Packer fans laughing at the Bears. Boy, they got way older. These guys are going to break down. Their offensive line dominated. Kevin Zeitler's PFF grades the last 3 years, guys, 71, 86, 74. You plug him in at left guard in place of Banks. Like Zeitler is what we hope Banks was, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if you can go get Zeitler's projected market value is 1 year, $9.5 million. You're going to pay $10 million for one guy for 1 year? Mm-hmm. Hell yes, we will. In a heartbeat. That's the type of deals you've got to potentially make. Now, if you go and get Zeitler and you got a rookie center there, and then you draft a couple other spots to compete at right guard, or let's say you go get another one. Let me give you a couple other names.
Dude, that's what I said. Even Ed Ingram, I'll take him for $5 million, 1 year, $5 million, $15 million, and you got 2 proven NFL players on the O line instead of what we get Banks for 25 or something like that. One player for 25.
Yep. And his market value, Ed Ingram, 1 year, $4.5 million. 59, 54. Last year, he jumped to a 73. He's 27 years old. Played his best football last year. I'm going to give you another one that people aren't talking about. It's Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins, remember, he played for the Bears. Last year, he played for the Browns. His market value, according to Over the Cap, $2.7 million. Okay. His PFF grade, 72, 75, 77. Last year, he got hurt. The write-up says, although Jenkins just played 324 snaps with the Browns, he impressed with a 77 PFF grade that was buoyed by a 79.1 run blocking mark. 79.1 run blocking grade. On-field ability has rarely been in question, with Jenkins sitting above a 72.5 overall grade in each of the last 4 years, but he's played only 2,369 snaps in that span, turning 28 before the new league year. Jenkins could attract teams who want to take a swing on his talent. I would be okay with taking that chance, right? So imagine if you go get Zeitler and Tevin Jenkins, and now they're competing at the guard position with whoever else you bring in. You feel a lot better about your offensive line position. And to J. Cole's point here, you feel a lot better about potentially having to start a rookie center if you've got two solid veterans on each side of them, right? Yeah. This is what I asked Mark Tauscher when I called into Wildy and Tausch that day. I said, Tausch, you're telling me you got one game to win, playoffs on the line, and I kind of set it up like, what would you rather have, a 7-year vet next to you or a rookie? Which would you rather have? And he said, all things being equal, the vet, but all things aren't equal. What does that mean? Okay, yes, if you can find me a stud offensive lineman in the draft that's going to play as good as a 7-year vet, sure. Okay. Can you guarantee that? No, all things aren't equal. And I'm not trying to be an ass to Tausch. I love Tausch. I love that show. I love the insight he brings. But the point is, everybody who's got two brain cells to rub together know exactly who Tausch would rather play next to. He'd rather play next to a veteran who's been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and had his damn nose bloodied at the NFL level. We talked about bloody in the nose and the gong cake. Yeah, I love it. So, again, the point is, like, why are we talking about this stuff? Because what happened at the end of the year? On the biggest stage, we crap the bed, right? Yep. That's what happens to young teams with inexperience. It just happens. So,
and what happened the year before? O-line. I mean, it's you come back to what was the two problems we've had the past 2 years? Our line.
Yeah. Right. And you know what? To Gutey's defense, he recognized it too, and he said, we're going to fix that. The problem is his answer was Aaron Banks at $77 million, swing and a miss, and Anthony Belton in the second round, who right now I've got to say is a swing and a miss, but it's early. He may be dominant this year, and I hope he is. GMs miss. That's not to say Gutey should be fired because he missed on those two, but are we not allowed to acknowledge that he missed on those two, at least in year one of that rebuild or what have you? So that bothers me when people are like, well, you can't judge a draft pick off of 1 year. Bet me. What? Ozzie Trapillo had no problem. Yeah. Right? Like, come on. Let's call a spade here. Moving on to cornerback. This is the position that you mentioned, Emilio. You said Jamel Dean. This is the order in which they've got the consensus free agent list at cornerback. Jalen Watson at 10, Tariq Woolen at 17, Jamel Dean at 18, Nashawn Wright at 43, Monteric Brown at 62, Alante Taylor at 65, Rasul Douglas at 74, Eric Stokes at 75, Cordell Flott at 89, Chidobe Awuzie at 91, and then Greg Newsome. I am not a fan of Greg Newsome. There's so many Packer fans that still want Greg Newsome, and I don't understand the buzz for it, man. I have no idea. But on my cheat list, Emilio, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to get Tim's take. These are the ones that I've got earmarked that I would be okay with signing at the cornerback position in free agency. Jamel Dean, Jalen Watson, Asante Samuel. Rasul Douglas is like on the bubble. He had a great year 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he was bad. Last year, he had another solid year. So he's kind of been up and down, but at the right price, $4 million, $3 million, sure. Add him in as a veteran, right? He's familiar with Green Bay already. I'll be okay with that. Joshua Williams, I'm okay with. Awuzie, I'm okay with. Roger McCreary, I'm okay with. Nashawn Wright. I don't like Nashawn Wright as much as most people. I think his market may be a little inflated. Monteric Brown, I like. And I'd be okay with Trayvon Diggs because you've already kind of seen the upside there. But, Emilio, you mentioned Jamel Dean, right?
I just think for the experience, just coming up on 30 years old, he's 29-3 right now. 2 years, they said projected contract, 2 years, 13.5, 14 million guaranteed. So you're at around 20, 25, 27 million. That's not terrible. I would love Jalen Watson. He's a little bit younger, 2 years younger. I think he's going to get paid a lot more though. He's going to be closer to 50 million, probably 50 million total. And with probably 30 guaranteed. So like you said, I would take that. Eric Stokes, I don't know if you'd bring him back, but then I would probably jump down to, like you said, Asante Samuel, Trayvon Diggs, and sort of sit in that area. I mean, if we don't get one of those five, I wouldn't be opposed to kind of passing on corners and just say, hey, if we can solidify the offensive line, defensive line, we'll find a couple corners in the draft and move on. It's not like, I still have faith in how deep our safety room is, that we can work around the lapses at corner. And with, Gannon coming in, running a little 3 high safety looks, I think we might get a little bit more of that, where you find a physical corner that wants to play, outside downhill. I would be all right with that. But like you said, Jamel Dean, probably where I'm sitting right at the moment, if he's just to go out and spend money right this second.
Got it. And Jamel Dean is sitting, according to PFF, he's sitting at 2 years, 13.5 million. I'd be okay with that. Jalen Watson has now surpassed him, 3 years, 15 million. Like you said, 45 to 50 million total is what it's looking like, with 30 million guaranteed. So you're right. Jalen Watson is a guy, both of these players are still ascending, believe it or not. Jamel Dean is 29 years old, but he had a 74, 75, 80 last year. Okay. Jalen Watson, 68, 69, 74. Tariq Woolen's the one I'm not as big on. 67, 67, 59. I don't understand the buzz there for 3 years, $15 million. Right. And I know people will say, well, he tackles. That's great. I want my corners to tackle. Don't get me wrong. But if they can't cover
first.
And in that Super Bowl, he was running that mouth and gave up, I think it was in the Super Bowl, maybe it was the AFC Championship, running that mouth and ended up getting cooked, whatever. I was like, we already got that at home, and I won't mention any names. You know what I'm saying? So we'll just keep it at that. Tim, what do you think about the cornerbacks here? Is there anybody you like in particular? And how much would you be willing to pay when it comes to a cornerback here, man?
In free agency, going to be somewhere in the middle. To Emilio's point, I like Jalen Watson, but I think we're priced out with him. He's going to get his money. I don't think we're going to go that high. Jamel Dean, I like Alante Taylor as well. I think he might be a little bit more affordable. And then, Trayvon Diggs, Asante Samuel Jr., if we're going to take a swing at free agency. Otherwise, I'd rather go after some corners in the draft.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, if I'm going to spend a lot of money on a corner, I'm okay with Jamel Dean or Jalen Watson, either one. Yep. If you're looking for a kind of a sweetheart of a deal here, somebody like Asante Samuel Jr., who proved he can stay healthy for the best. I don't know. Maybe he did get hurt last year. Of course, he came in late. It's showing he's had 249 snaps, but it's showing his market value at $3.5 million. That's a guy on the cheat sheet. Rasul Douglas is one that's showing $6.5 million. His PFF grade's 81, 53, 73. So if you can get a little more of what you've seen last year, I would be okay with it. A little bit more of a gamble with Rasul, I believe. Joshua Williams is interesting, 74, 64. Then I think he got hurt last year. He's only 26 years old. So if he can prove that he's fully healthy, that wouldn't be a bad signing there. Awuzie, 62, 64, 74. He's 30 years old. Roger McCreary, 71, 61, 72. He's 26 years old at $3 million per. Roger McCreary is really, really interesting. Only 26 years old. If you can get him on a 1 year, $3 million deal, he's going to be playing for his career right there. That's something that makes a lot of sense, I believe. So Monteric Brown's another one that's interesting. 51, 62. Last year, he jumped to a 72 on 795 snaps. If you can get him at what the market value is saying at 1 year, $4.5 million, you could kind of see, like, they're showing Trayvon Diggs now over the cap at only $2 million per. So what if you went and got Monteric Brown at $4.5 million, Trayvon Diggs at $2 million? You spent less than $7 million, and you probably found the two starting corners on your roster. That's how.
And you still may be able to draft another developmental guy as well.
Yeah, right.
And if you don't like Monteric Brown, you go say, okay, I'll bring in Trayvon, and maybe Eric Stokes wants to come back, just test the legs out. We still loved his speed. There's a reason we drafted him in the first place. You never know.
He played good football last year.
He did.
On a bad team.
So. That's true. And we don't mind taking Raider corners.
You got that right. Well, we got there's precedent there, no doubt about it. Moving on to interior defensive line, and then we'll get ready to wrap up here. We'll get a few minutes. So interior defensive line, we've talked about defensive tackle in the draft. I feel like it's slim this year. You've got Caden McDonald at 21, Caleb Banks 23, Peter Woods 31, Kristen Miller 33, Lee Hunter 41. If all those guys are gone when you pick at 52, you're going to be reaching for Darrell Jackson or Dominic Orange at 91 and 99 with your 84th pick. So you kind of throw that out the window and go, okay, what can we do in free agency? So the consensus free agent list here for defensive tackles, they've got John Franklin Myers at 32, Calais Campbell at 59, David Onyemata at 61, DJ Reader at 71, Sheldon Rankins at 85, Daquan Jones at 88. On down the list here a little bit is Logan Hall at 139. Also at 119, you got Leve Ozarike. You got Deshaun Han, Roy Lopez. Don't like either of those guys, to be honest with you. So when you look at the defensive tackle cheat sheet, what I've got is 4 guys that I like. Calais Campbell, David Onyemata, and then it drops off to Ozarike and then Logan Hall. All right. Now, when you look at it from the PFF standpoint here and where they have these guys ranked on the interior defenders in terms of free agent list, they have DJ Reader 1. I'm not as big on DJ Reader. 82, 66, 68. He's 31 years old. He'll be 32. Now, if his market value is only $4 million, I can understand taking a swing on him. Yeah. Right. So essentially, it's like that's about the level that Devontae Wyatt's played at. Now, he had played 500. He played 500 snaps the last 3 seasons, so probably a significantly more snaps than our boy Devontae Wyatt. However, Calais Campbell at $6 million for 1 year, 80, 82, 72. Love that. David Onyemata, 1 year, $3.5 million, 84, 66, 78. Tim, I find myself getting excited with defensive tackle because if these numbers hold true, you could land a couple of these guys and be under $10 million for two decent players at the defensive tackle position, man.
I agree, especially if you go with Calais, right? And you get him on that 1 year, and you get one of these other guys on a 3 year that's really a 2 year or something. You know, you protect your interests and try and shore things up there on the D line. I like him. I like even Sheldon Rankins. What's his what do they have his value at right now?
Let's see, Sheldon Rankins a little bit further down the list, 1 year, $7.5 million. Okay. Which is interesting because his PFF grades are 62, 55, and then 70. Okay. It says Houston's edge defender stole the show in 25, but Rankins was unsuspectingly good on the inside as well. It says the veteran amassed 44 pressures with a 10.9% pass rush win rate. Rankins' 61.2 PFF run defense grade also placed him 73rd percentile at the position. 31-year-old offers some juice up the middle despite his age. Pass rushing, essentially, Tim.
So he'd be a one or the other then with respect to Calais Campbell, right? You're going to take one or the other, probably not both of them. But, Anzarike, another guy.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that, Tim. And like you said, with Rankins is coming from that Texans D as well, right? They were a good defense last year. What can you bring? What else, could we do to beat that out? But like you said, with Levi, they haven't projected, Tim, 1 year, $2 million average, $500,000 guaranteed. Like,
pay that man his money.
Here's the caveat, though, right?
I was just going to say it.
Yeah. So 68, 70, no grade last year. It says after a promising 24 season, say the name for me, Emilio.
Levi Onwuzurike.
Onwuzurike missed all of 2025 due to a torn ACL suffered in training camp. The year before, he secured a career-high 47 pressures on a 66.2 PFF pass rushing grade. He also added a 66.5 PFF run defense grade. While his health will need to be tested, he could be an intriguing find given his age. He's only 28 years old and past production. So if he checks out –
we already lost one of our interiors, right, to an injury. So we need to start moving. Like he's coming a year off of his injury. DY is going into an injury, And
Levi is going to be hungry, right? That's going to be a guy trying to prove it. And that's again, I to repeat my point earlier, we know about that rotation, right? So if the guys, come maybe, you want to watch, the health. Obviously, guys can get hurt anytime, but. I don't know. That strikes me as some. If Jacob was here, he'd love it. That's like bargain bin hunting right there. That's some value.
Because Tim, would you be mad if you signed him to a 1 year, $2 million deal and it didn't work? You ended up cutting him, because you needed to make space for somebody.
Absolutely not.
And it says the projected guarantee is $500,000.
Yeah. It seems like it kind of reminds me of Jaron Reed when he came in from Seattle. We brought him in, didn't work. Then he gets back to Seattle, goes and gets a ring. All right, do your thing. But, I appreciate you. Glad you showed up. But maybe we take a shot on that and see what happens.
Yeah. Let's see what Holmes says here. This is interesting. He says they invested rather heavily in the draft at defensive tackle. It's not like they'll cut those guys after one season. What was it, a 5th and a 6th-round pick? And actually, it was just Warren Brinson because Stackhouse was undrafted.
Stackhouse,
right?
yeah, undrafted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He goes on to say, give Brinson and Stack a chance. For goodness sake, they're young. Okay, we can do that. We can go back out there with the youngest roster again. And what do we do when they grade out the same, though, Holmes? What do we do when we look at the tape and go, okay, Stack's a big body? If Stackhouse was not a big body, what is his strength? That's what we always say.
He came from Georgia.
Yeah, we always say Stackhouse is a great personality. There's no two.
He is a G.
That's right, Coach. We've actually got the screen grab here. This is the main reason I like Stackhouse. I ain't gonna lie, right? That's
absolutely.
all. So anybody that eats a chicken wing like that, looking all provocative on national television, right? I love the dude. Love the fact that he's a good locker room guy, this and that. He is not a starting nose tackle. He's not. So if it's, we're going to try to make a run at the Super Bowl in 3 years, cool. Yeah, let's see if he develops. In the meantime, we're going to get our asses kicked in the trenches. That's what's going to happen, right? So again, and here's the other thing, injuries are going to happen. He's going to get an opportunity regardless.
Right.
I'm talking about what gives us the best chance to win right freaking now. Undrafted free agent and a 5th-round pick. Is that what Brinson was, 5th? Am I thinking right, Amelia, or was it 6th?
I want to say he was a 6th. I want to say, because then we picked up Jake in the 7th, the tackler, whatever, from Cincinnati with the back problem. Jack.
I mean, you can do that. You can go out there with those guys. But let me ask you guys a question. How comfortable do you feel trying to win a Super Bowl with a 6th-round pick and an undrafted free agent anchor in your defense?
And the general and D. Wyatt injured. Mm-hmm. That's it's the general, D. Wyatt injured with an ankle, 7th round, or 6th or 7th, and an undrafted. That's our interior D line right now.
Me no likey that, Jan.
And again, he could develop. We may be and we'll earmark this. We may look at the end of the year and go, damn, Holmes was on it. Boy, Stackhouse blew up. That would be great. I'd love to see that.
Awesome.
Like Kobe did to us last year. Kobe, I don't know if he's going to make the cut. He might get cut from the team. He
stepped up.
Everything we needed in the interior.
Yep. And same with Warren Brinson. We've seen Warren Brinson flash. So, I mean, it's a valid point, And
listen, we talked about Kobe Wooden stepped up, right? He played better. But where would you rank him across the league amongst nose tackles? Where would you rank him? Would you say he's top 10? I'm going to ask y'all a series of questions. Is he top 10?
No. Is he top 64? Maybe. He might be 50. He might be 50 to 65-ish.
Bingo. Basically, he's a number 2 nose tackle that was forced to play nose tackle starting, and I thought he did a hell of a job given the situation. But that's with realistic expectations of this dude is not a starting caliber nose tackle. I mean, you could say he's starting caliber, but he's not a guy that's going to be, that's the reason we won that ball game.
He's not a Tuesday player, absolutely. No.
Right, exactly. And that's what you're looking for on that defensive front, especially in a scheme where everybody seems to think that Jonathan Gannon's going to try to get pressure with 4 and not blitz, right? If that's the case, are we expecting Kobe Wooden to beat double teams if they line him up in the A-gap? I'm not expecting him to beat a double team consistently to the quarterback. I'm just not. I think that's unrealistic expectations on a guy that was drafted where he was drafted. And once again, Kobe Wooden, what was he, a 4th or a 5th-round pick, something like that? I think
5th round. I think.
Yeah. So again, you're looking at all these players that we're expecting to step up and be key role players, and all of it's just like Keyshawn Nixon, right? Keyshawn Nixon, people either love him or hate him, what have you. I've got realistic expectations on Keyshawn. He was an undrafted free agent. He made $6 million last year, right? It was his cap hit. You can't expect someone that's making $6 million to go out there and play like a shutdown corner. It's unrealistic. It is. So that's my
Kobe was the 4th round, and Carl Brooks was the 6th round pick that year.
Got it. And Carl Brooks started off strong. His rookie year, he looked good. Took a step back in year 2 and in year 3. Right now, he's approaching year 4. So he looked his best in a 34 front, albeit we're in the nickel the majority of the time, right? So kind of throw that out the window a little bit, right? So, it's it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Soder says, to be honest, we have kind of sucked at drafting and developing the D-line. I agree. Like, Wyatt is a good pass rusher. He's not a good run defender. It's that simple, And yeah, I have a hard time believing they're going, we don't care about stopping the run. We've seen that time and time again, right? Like you've got to be able to stop the run even in a pass-happy league, especially with these teams really pressing into 12 personnel and even more into 13 personnel. You better be stout at the point of attack. I like Kobe Wooden. I want to be very clear. I like Kobe Wooden as that number 2 nose tackle. If you go out and you sign Calais Campbell and he breaks a shoelace and he's out for an entire quarter because his foot's so damn big they can't find a shoelace in Brown County to fit his shoe, right? Let's say that happens. I feel good about Kobe Wooden filling in for him for a quarter. I don't want him to be the starting defensive tackle. Can't have it. Can't do it. So
I agree.
And like you said, to the point of attack point, J. Cole, he's talking about the Ravens game. He said, Chris, it got to the point in that game where I just left. The D-line got cooked. I think he said he was at the game. And it's like, you see it. I mean, Henry, it was bad. It really was. I didn't even like watching it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those where, what are you going to do to fix that? What are you going to do to try to make that better so that doesn't happen, anytime next year? Best possibility.
Right. Yep. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun, man. We'll be here for every step of the way. This was a good episode, man. I'm glad y'all jumped in here and talked ball. I'm glad we kind of kept it free, open forum, and just kind of have a conversation both the draft and free agency. So if you guys are watching this back later, let us know in the comments. What do you think about this free agent class? We tried to hit on some of the positions of need. We didn't get the linebacker, which is interesting because obviously Quay Walker's on this list. Devin Lloyd leads the way at number 9. Devin Bush, 33. Nakobe Dean, 36. Quay at 38 in terms of the rank of free agents. Leo Chenal, very interesting to me. That's a guy I would like to see them go potentially get in free agency for the right price, of course. But let us know in the comments, what do you think about this free agent class? Hit that like button for us. Hit subscribe. Click the bell icon as well. You guys got anything else you want to hit before we wrap up? Anything at all?
No,
all good.
All right.
Combine week, baby. Combine week.
Right. Hey, it starts tomorrow, Tim.
Does it really?
Let me see here. Let's pull it up here real quick.
Well, they got to get those important kickers taken care of right away.
Oh, Tim, that was the first thing I put into the draft board. Kickers,
I saw you were on it today, man.
All that. Come on now.
Bro, so just so y'all know, I'm in there working on the board earlier. Okay. And all of a sudden, the player that I'm typing the grades in on, dirty words started popping up in the cell. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? What did I just do? Like, what, who's in here? Emilio was in there the whole time, just trolling the heck out of me, putting in random words and spells. I'm like, unbelievable.
Keeps them honest.
That's right.
Hey, big shout out to Air Canada, Mr. Elgersma is going to be throwing at the combine.
I like that.
Keep an eye on him, maybe popping onto a roster this season. You never know.
Of all the scouting reports that we did during our draft coverage last year, Taylor Elgersma was one of my favorite. It was just so I was blown away. Like, who is this guy? Mm-hmm. Look at this resume, what he did in Canada. It was wild. Yeah. But yeah, to answer your question or to comment on what we said about the combine as we wrap up, tomorrow, Tuesday, okay, you've got actually rolling into town. They actually rode in today, the DBs and the tight ends. The place kickers, defensive line, and linebackers were already in town. So tomorrow, place kicker, defensive line, and linebackers are going to do their medical exams, pre-ordered studies, and then they're going to do team interviews. So what's that mean? Easton Butler. Stay plugged in with Easton Butler on X, and he's going to be posting who the Packers are meeting with. So we'll throw the cheese emojis on the draft board for that. Mm-hmm. And then at the defensive back and tight end positions, they're going to be doing their registration, pre-exam, orientation, and team interviews as well tomorrow, okay? It looks like running back, quarterback, and wideouts as well are going to be doing registration, orientation, and team interviews. This should be a ton of interview information come out tomorrow. Also, I think last I seen, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, I believe it is, Brian Gutekunst is supposed to speak. Nice. So whenever he speaks, I'll probably go live and kind of do a quick little update. Here's what he said. Here's what he said. Will he say anything? Probably not.
Surprise. That's a Tuesday, Clay?
I think
normally he comes out on Wednesdays. I don't know. That's his go-to.
I think I seen on the schedule, somebody tweeted it out that he was one of the first people that was supposed to speak on Tuesday. Nice. I could be wrong.
I have built in an extra column next to the name this year on the draft board. We're going to see if we can't add in some of the confirmed measurables once we get, because you get PFFs, you get consensus, height, weights, all that stuff. Ideally we can get a little bit added in there just for to be able to pull it up when we're on the move and stuff, get a little height, weights, maybe a 40 speed. Something like that before the RAS, just to kind of give us an idea. Kind of like how we saw when we went to the Hall of Fame of there up in Lambeau, where you looked at the old draft boards. They had a little bit of height, weight, speed, and then you kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you doing all that, man. Tim, it's good to see you, buddy. Thanks for jumping in, man.
Glad to be back with my dudes.
It's
talking ball. Love it.
All right. Everybody have a great evening. Do us a big favor. Smash that like button on the way out. Also, wherever you get your podcast, make sure you search Packer Fan Total Access. Give us a sub, a follow over there, and give us a 5-star review when you get a chance. That way, when you're on the go, you'll know where to find the podcast in that form. Also, the best way to support what we do here at PTA is just join our Patreon community, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. That's where you get access to the draft board and all the other information that we're constantly updating over there. So everybody have a great night. My name's Clayton. That's Tim. That's Emilio. This is PTA. Go Pack Go.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.